Why you want to be the Prime Minister of Canada?
It was a mix of tooth-achingly sweet.
Max, is simple. I'm a patriot.
You're going to be able to grow up and live out your dreams.
I believe that the children are the future.
And dire warnings.
We see a crackdown on free speech.
We also need to make sure that we do not impose euthanasia on these seniors.
I know that you probably enjoy playing those games sometimes and being online, but let's be careful of the vulnerability.
They clashed on a few issues, like the best way to encourage business to cut emissions.
He's also talked about how
Mr.
we are
MacKay,
subsidizing the energy.
But it never hit the levels of frustration from last night's French language debate. In fact, Erin O'Toole seemed to be trying to avoid sounding too angry.
I am a bit angry with what Justin Trudeau has done to this country.
While they didn't often challenge each other,
As the way we've used a deficit reduction plan. I didn't interrupt you, Mr. O'Toole.
they did wade into some challenging issues.
My question is, what are your thoughts on systemic racism, and how would you demonstrate leadership in that area?
I think we have to acknowledge that systemic racism exists.
But I don't believe that we should call Canada a racist country.
We need to look at how we can modify certain institutions, such as our police.
We want merit and success to be the best, not the color of someone's skin.
But does that mean O'Toole accepts that systemic racism exists? He wouldn't say the phrase systemic racism.
There is racism in Canada, and we have to have a commitment to stamp it out.
MacKay was asked as a former justice minister about his responsibility in perpetrating systemic racism. He didn't quite answer that.
Our justice system is predicated on accountability, on very much improving people's lives.
Conservative voters still have about 2 months to make up their mind. Mail-in ballots are due August 21st. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
Okay, so let's check in with our chief political correspondent. Rosie, what leapt out at you during that debate?
Well, a couple things. I mean, first, the lack of fireworks, if you will. The few that we got were in Catherine's piece there, and I think that always makes things challenging for members who are trying to decide who they want to vote for. A couple other things. There were a couple of small acknowledgments from the two frontrunners about what essentially went wrong in the last election. Erin O'Toole pointing out that in order to win, they need to win urban and suburban Canada. We certainly know that. The Conservatives got the popular vote, but didn't really pick up any of those seats. And Peter MacKay making an appeal that big blue tent has to widen. They have to push that tent in a broader way to bring in more Canadians so they can win. Remember, this debate, though, was for Conservative members, and it really plays to the kinds of things that they want to hear. When we get to the point where one of these candidates is in a general election, that's a whole other game.
Right, so you got to wonder, what will all of this have changed for those Conservative members?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll change a whole lot, but remember, this is a ranked ballot, so those second choices, those third choices are just as important as the first one. So perhaps the fight tonight was to find out who the second choice and third choice would be for some people, because ultimately that may well be what decides who the next Conservative leader will be.